So she is a business consultant and was runner-up in Winnipeg's 2018 mayoral election, and now she's running again. Jenny Motkaluk is with us today as we get to know the 11 people who want the job of being mayor of the city of Winnipeg. Jenny Motkaluk, hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I mentioned that you ran in 2018. You came in second behind Brian Bowman. Why do you want this job?
You know, the reason that I'm running for mayor of Winnipeg, there's a lot of them, but fundamentally, I think that we need to put a stop to the divisive discourse that we've been listening to for 15 years. And it's come at us from all different places. It's come at us from the media, it's come at us from different levels of government. And what I know more than anything else is that the people who live in Winnipeg are fundamentally Winnipeggers, and we are all on one team. And I know that if we work together, we can solve our big problems and have a happy future.
I want to ask you about some of your particular promises. So one of them is about the police board, of course. You've said you want the Winnipeg Police Board to get rid of the city's police chief, and then you want to get rid of the board itself as well. Now, as mayor, you can't actually fire the chief, but I want to know why these changes are important to you.
Because it's about leadership and it's about accountability. You know, 27% of the City of Winnipeg budget is spent on the Winnipeg Police Service. So if you think about it from a business relationship, we're buying public safety from this entity. That's their job, is to provide it to us, and the City of Winnipeg pays for it. But because we have the police board in the way, the Winnipeg Police Service is actually not accountable to the city. So all the promises that every mayoral candidate is making about changes that they'll make in the Winnipeg Police Service are impossible for the reason that you just pointed out. Right? And that's why we need to, number one, get rid of the chief who thinks that the current status quo is okay, because it isn't. And the police board has the power to do that. So as mayor of Winnipeg, how will I do it? I will put my appointees onto the police board with the mandate of getting rid of the chief and replacing them. And then I'm going to lobby the province like hell to make sure that the citizens of Winnipeg are the ones who get to decide and hold the Winnipeg Police Service accountable.
If you ask the police board to dismiss the chief and they say no, what's your next step?
Then I'm going to just keep working on it until it's done. I've already asked the police board to replace the chief, just to be clear. I've started that process. There is a mechanism for it, and we're going to pursue it as hard as we can.
There might be a mechanism, but is it as the mayor, you don't have that power. So when you say I'm going to fire the police chief, is it disingenuous to put it out there that way?
No, it isn't. Because it's about leadership and accountability. And today, the hardworking men and women of the Winnipeg Police Service deserve leadership that they can count on. They don't have confidence in their chief, and neither do I.
Your campaign website talks about leadership. It references an approach that is inclusive and collaborative. You've talked about this. But during the campaign, you've used some language. So when it comes to delays at the city permit office, and I'm quoting here, if I have to, I'll burn that thing down and start from scratch. It's the single biggest barrier to growth and success in the city. You also said you would replace the 3 city-appointed members of the Forks Board of Directors.
Absolutely, I will.
For renaming its Canada Day event a New Day, but you said there they caved into the woke mob and they will be fired.
Yes. I stand by everything that I said, just to be clear.
How does the tone of all of that, though? You know, I'm going to burn it down, they'll all be fired. How does that speak to building up Winnipeg and less divisiveness?
So here's the thing. Today in Winnipeg, the overwhelming majority of Winnipeggers are hardworking citizens who pay their taxes and pay for all of this stuff. And I believe that the role of the leadership is to be accountable to them and not to private special interest groups, not to woke mentality, because what that really is discrimination in disguise. And Winnipeggers deserve to have leadership that works for them and makes sure that Winnipeggers have an opportunity for a happy future. And that is exactly what I'm all about, right? I am the only candidate for mayor that believes that we need to have a focus on increasing the number of jobs and the paychecks for Winnipeggers. The other 10 candidates believe that the solution is to take more money out of Winnipeggers' pockets, and I just don't think that that's right.
When you're talking about special interest groups, just to look at the Forks example and their rebranding of this year as a New Day, the Forks didn't cancel Canada Day. It was shifted in tone because of the graves, as you know, that were found at residential schools. Indigenous peoples aren't a special interest group, so I'm just wondering about the framing of that.
You know, so here's the thing. We absolutely have a commitment in Canada to truth and reconciliation. It's been ongoing for a long time, and I think that Canadians are behind it, and so am I, by the way. What I'm not behind is this concept that we should be ashamed of our country. And I'll tell you why. because Canada itself, we are talking about the very existence of the country, because Canada is not the Houses of Parliament. Canada is not...
But how does that make you ashamed of the country? I'm just curious to get into that, because some people might be offended by the thought that Indigenous peoples are like framed as a special interest group, that actually that this year to do that might have been seen as an inclusive thing for everyone.
But it wasn't. It wasn't that way at all. And in fact, I went to probably a dozen Canada Day events around the city, not at the Forks. And I can tell you that they were filled with Winnipeggers who were proud of our country. And we should be proud of our country. The minute we stop believing, Canada only exists in our collective will. And when we stop believing in it, we won't have a country anymore. That's why.
You've repeatedly used the word values during your campaign.
Yes.
How would you describe your values?
I am a proud Canadian. I am very proud of my country. I'm a mother. I'm the only mother running for mayor of Winnipeg, as it happens, right? And I truly believe in the goodness of people. And I truly believe that given the right opportunities, we can be a city of opportunity for all of us. And I believe that we need to make money and not take money. I believe in accountability and outcomes versus inputs. You know, for the last 30 years, we have measured the amount of money that we poured into black holes of public works and things like that, and never really been too fussed about the outcomes. And I believe that the real question is, what did we do with that money? And that's why I'm offering Winnipeggers my vision of the future, which includes leadership, it includes accountability. And the reason that values matter, Marcy, is this. In 2018, we believed that the entire campaign was about a single intersection, if you remember that. And what we didn't know, and none of us could have known, is that we were actually electing the leadership that would see us through a global pandemic. That's why values matter.
What would people be surprised to know about you?
What would people be surprised to know about me? Well, I think everybody knows that I'm one of 8 kids. They might be surprised how spirited our conversations can be around the dinner table. But at the end of the day, you know what? I'm a hardworking Winnipegger just like everybody else.
When you think about your vision for what Winnipeg could be in the future, how is it different now from what you saw and hoped for in that 2018 campaign?
It isn't. I'm the same person as I was in 2018. I believe in the same things. And fundamentally what I believe in is creating opportunities for a happy future for everybody. I believe in practical outcomes that are measurable, that we can actually do. My entire platform, which I released on September the 7th, is predicated on a couple of principles. One is that we're not going to need any new public money. I am the only candidate for mayor committed to not raising taxes. The only mystery about the other candidates is how much more money they're going to take away from Winnipeggers. I'm not going to take any. I believe we should make money. And the second thing is that everything that is in this book, all of the proposals that I'm offering to Winnipeggers, are things that we can do today with the authority that we have.
Just in our last 30 seconds here, how much weight would you give to opinions that don't line up with yours? Because if someone's watching and they feel like they really liked either the way the Forks went, or they feel like language that says, you know, burn this down is just strong to them, and they're not sure what to make of all that. How can they trust that you'll represent them as well if you're mayor?
The job is representative democracy, right? And the job is actually to represent all the people. And I am also the only candidate for mayor that is committed to being accessible to every single Winnipegger once a month in every single ward. I want to hear from everybody. And by the way, you know, the plans that I put forward for Winnipeg are not mine. They're the collection of input that I've gotten from thousands and thousands of Winnipeggers across the political spectrum, people with wildly different views. And some of the greatest ideas have come from those people. And that's the strength that we have in our city.
Good luck on the 26th.
Yeah, thanks very much, Marcy.
Thank you.
Okay.